welcome back to my channel. um my name's Jerica, if you guys don't know, and I started recording my pregnancy, uh my pregnancy like my pregnancy progress. I don't know why I couldn't think of that word. So yeah, I just been recording and just like sharing these moments that are really special to us with you guys. So something I've always wanted to do, and today I want to talk about um, just my first trimester and how that's been going, and my symptoms, how I found out I was pregnant, my cravings, the good and the bad, stretch marks, and all that stuff. So yeah, so I found out I was pregnant on March 20th. It was a Friday, and that week was pretty weird because I started having flu symptoms. And so honestly, I thought I was coming down with COVID, because that week, or like around that time, people were like getting tested for it and we were looking out for symptoms. So I called out of work on Sunday. My symptoms were like really bad migraines, sore throat, stuffy nose. I didn't have an appetite. So those were like my red flags. Like I'm like, oh, I'm coming down with something. And so that was like Monday and Tuesday. I still was like trying to drink a lot of vitamin C, a lot of water. And come Wednesday, I started having other symptoms, which were like nausea, uh, tender breast, a fatigue, and I was really, really tired. But also, my period was supposed to come like either that week or the following week. I can't remember dates really. I wasn't concerned about anything. I'm like, okay, I'm getting sick and then my period's coming. So I went along with my day, and then I remember Wednesday, I went to grab some vitamin C powder out of the pantry, and for some reason, I felt like reading the box, and I like took a glance, and it said, if you're pregnant, to consult your doctor first. And then unconsciously, I was like, oh, I probably shouldn't drink this, and which was weird because I was like, why would I think that I'm not pregnant? And so I brushed it off. I didn't drink the vitamin C, but I was just like, just to be safe. But it was just so weird. And then like it bothered me that I was like, why did I think that way? Like, I'm not pregnant. Like, there's no way. And so that was Wednesday. I was feeling very nauseous. But again, cramps and normal. It was just like normal. Thursday came. I had the thought in my head again of me being pregnant, and I kept brushing it off. I kept going back and forth with myself like, I'm not pregnant, it can't be. And so I had 2 pregnancy tests upstairs, and I could have just taken them, but I told myself, no, I'm not gonna waste it. I'm gonna end up wasting it because I know I'm not pregnant. But it just kept, like, that thought was still in my head. Thursday night came, and I remember feeling very overwhelmed. I was very emotional. I was like sitting in bed. It was like maybe like 1 a.m., 2 a.m., and Miller was already asleep. And I remember like being so emotional that night and just thinking like, okay, like, how about if I am pregnant? And it was just a lot. Like, I thought, okay, with COVID, and thinking how doctor's appointments are gonna be, like if Miller's able to be with me in the doctor's appointments, if I'm able to tell my parents and my family that I'm pregnant in person, because if we're quarantined. And I don't know, it was just really hard. And then I was also thinking like, I'm not gonna be working, I'm gonna be out of work if COVID happens, because I work with kids. And then I thought also Miller just started a new job, so it was crazy. And I just felt the need to pray over my belly and pray over the baby and pray over my anxiety, and I did. And then after, like, it was so weird that I did that because I still didn't know I was pregnant. But then after that, I was like, I probably prayed to empty stomach, but I don't know, I just felt led to. And then little did I know that I was pregnant, and that's how I found out Friday. I give myself a pep talk. Mother goes to work, and so I go upstairs. I have two. I have like the line one, and then I have the digital one. And I wasn't gonna play games with that line one. Like, I didn't have time to guess if it was 2 lines or 1 line, if it was faded. I grabbed the digital one. I take it. I go downstairs. I'm sitting at the piano, and I press record in case if I do end up pregnant. And it says that I'm pregnant. and my emotions, my thoughts, like I still, it feels like a dream. Um, when I think back or when I look back at that video, like it was so crazy and it makes me so emotional because I just couldn't believe it. I was in complete shock, and it was like the best surprise ever, and it was so crazy because I just wasn't expecting that. And then that moment I knew I wanted to surprise Miller for his birthday because he was turning 30 on April 10th. And I wanted to throw a big surprise, but because of COVID, that couldn't happen. So then I figured, okay, I'll wait. And it was like 3 weeks for me to wait to tell him, but I did it, and I'm glad I did. So yeah, I kept that secret for a while, and it was pretty hard, but it was worth it. After I found out I was pregnant, I started feeling all these other symptoms that just happened out of nowhere. My breasts were super sore, like even during that time they were, but there was this one morning where I woke up and I lifted up myself up from the bed to go pee, and it felt like I had heavy like stones like as boobs because of pain. They were like sharp like stabbing pains. It was the worst feeling ever. I was out of breath, and then again I was like very like tired, extreme. I'm not a person that takes naps, and I was sleeping all day. I had no energy. I couldn't eat the foods that I wanted, so I would cook dinner for Miller and I would serve myself, and it would taste nasty to me. It would taste bad, and so I lost all my appetite, and the only thing I could eat was just crackers and soup. So that was like mostly how it was in the beginning of like my first trimester. With as far as like photos, like my progress photos, the earliest photos that I have of me being pregnant was at 3 weeks, and I didn't even know I was pregnant. But Miller and I were going to a boxing class, and I was like, I always take pictures of my progress. When I first found out I was pregnant, I was 4 weeks. So like during 5 and 6 weeks, I just like wasn't eating anything, and I was tired. And then when I told Miller, I think I was about 7 weeks. So there weren't a lot of foods that I enjoyed. It was more foods that I didn't like. So I couldn't have any sweets, like donuts. I saw a commercial, Mother got me a donut, a glazed donut, because I used to love them, and it made my stomach hurt. Till this day, I'm not like glazed donuts. Like it's just the salmon. I couldn't cook it. I couldn't smell it. I couldn't touch it. Like I still can't. My dog's food has that fishy smell, so that was like hard. So like my senses like were super strong. I swear someone was baking brownies like at 6 a.m. and Miller couldn't smell it, and I smelled it all over. There was just one time like I was walking the dogs and I had to pick up their poop, and honestly poop doesn't smell good, but I went to pick it up and I started gagging so bad that like my abs were hurting of how much I was just like forcing, like I was just gagging and my tears were coming out, and it was so embarrassing because I know I saw a person walking by and they were just like looking at me like if I like really concerned, and probably thought like, you know, like why you have two dogs if you can't pick up their poop. So that's how strong like any smell that it was just so, it was so bad. But something else too that I didn't know, like I had no idea. And if you look back, my lips were so chappy, but supposedly like pregnancy girls get some like skin dries and like chappy lips. And if you look back at my other videos, like my lips were chapped. I wish Mother would have told me like to put some lip gloss on or something, but no one told me. And I don't know, I didn't even notice. But that was one of my other symptoms. Dry lips. I started getting scared for like any little thing. I was very jumpy. I would like if the dogs will bark, if they hear the mailman, or if someone will knock at the door, I would like just jump. I can't watch scary movies, and I love scary movies because I'll have nightmares. I'll wake up at 3 a.m. and sometimes Mother's at work, so I will call him because I'm like, so I feel like someone's gonna break it. Like it's just so bad. So like I don't watch anything that I might have nightmares with. By weeks like 7 and 8, I kind of started eating some foods. Mostly it was just fruit. I was like in the mood for like fresh juicy stuff, so like grapes, watermelon, blackberries, blueberries, and raspberries. And I'm not a blackberry person because of the texture, but I like wanted that. Cucumbers and tomatoes, and I don't like cucumbers. I like pretzels and stuff like that, so that's like what I was like eating. And then I was like in the mood to cook, so I was craving my mother-in-law's tortillitos. I was craving my mom's mashed potatoes, and we are quarantined, so I had to like look up recipes of how they make it or like call them without being too like obvious. And I was just making homemade pancakes, like not out of the box. I was making pancakes every morning. I'm sure Miller was spoiled that week because then I got over it, and then went back to cereal. My morning sickness was so real. It wasn't just in the morning, and I found that out the hard way. I was like confused because I'm like, it's only supposed to be in the morning, but no, you feel it every day. The only time I didn't feel sick was like when I was sleeping. But I didn't throw up though. That's one thing I'm so thankful for. Like my first trimester, I didn't throw up not once. I would gag and nothing would come out. So I'm glad. Like I was surprised, and I was like, I know they say the first trimester is the hardest, so I was expecting it to be like throwing up and just like really bad, but I can't complain. It wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. By week 8 and 9, I started like having like more hunger. So I would wake up like at around 4:30. Like my hunger would wake me up, and it was like 4:30 a.m. and I wasn't gonna make any pancakes, so I would go downstairs, grab some grapes, and come back to bed. Miller would like toss over and like look, and he's like, "What time is it?" And I'm like, 4:30, and he'll just like giggle and just go back to sleep. But I was just so hungry. So yeah, I don't know if I wasn't eating enough throughout the day, but I was starving. So my jeans, this is when my jeans and anything like around my belly was like stopped fitting me. So I would try so hard to fit into my jeans. I have some like videos and some clips of like my like me trying, and it wasn't like buttoning. Like I would have to suck my stomach, and I don't think that was like the best option. But yeah, those were so far my symptoms, and foods that like I couldn't eat or couldn't stand. And yeah, it wasn't crazy, but it does definitely change your second trimester. People do say things get better, but it's different for everyone. I was 11 weeks when I had my first ultrasound, May 11th. Yeah, I think I was around 11 weeks. So yeah, that was the first time I went to the doctors. Miller couldn't go because of COVID, and so I had to go. I had to go with a mask, and I had to check my temperature. So it was way different, and than you imagine it would be. So I had 2 appointments that day. I went to see my midwife, and she'll check my weight. She'll check like my blood sugars, and like they'll take out certain, like just certain things, a pee test to verify like you are pregnant. I was so nervous because I was just like worried. I'm like, imagine I'm not pregnant. That test just lied to me. So like, but I was pregnant, and it was just so surreal because I wasn't expecting her to like check for the baby's heartbeat. I thought my second appointment that day I was prepared to see the baby. So different when you like take a test and it says like pregnant or not pregnant, and then it's just so different when you actually hear baby. Like it's just so strange. Like I guess it hit me that I was pregnant at that moment because I wasn't feeling the baby. I didn't feel pregnant. I had the symptoms, but it's so crazy, and it almost feels like not lonely anymore a little bit because now you're like, okay, like there's proof. And then it's more extreme to the next level when you get to see the baby in the ultrasound. So it was really sweet. Well, then I went to my second appointment that day, and so that's like when I went to like to see the baby in the ultrasound, and it was nice. I was able to record a little video because Mother wasn't able to be there with me, and so I got to show him. And I mean, it sucked that he wasn't able to be there in the first like visits, or he can't be there anyways still. But it was just nice that I could just record, and it was so crazy. I felt like it wasn't my baby. It's so weird. I'm like, I feel like this is someone else's life because I just couldn't believe that I was pregnant, or that I'm pregnant. So during my first like trimester, I don't know if it was because I was just getting scared a lot, or I don't know. I'm not sure what it was, but I kept checking for miscarriage. Um it was strange every time I like, I don't know, if there were days that I didn't feel pregnant, and so I would you know, sometimes Google just doesn't help. And so I would keep going to the bathroom to just check if like I was bleeding, or just Googling stuff. And so I guess after I passed like that week, like the safe zone, I felt a little bit better, but it was like, it was very like, it was very hard trying to get over that, like trying to reach that point, because you hear a lot of stories and I know people that have been through that before. So um uh it was it was getting to the point that Miller had to tell me like, babe, like, okay, you can't like live in fear all the time. But I would constantly like stop a mid conversation, just go check, or like wake up in the night and just go check. So, but I'm glad, you know, everything's been going fine. Everything's good. The baby's healthy. And then by like week 12, which was like the end, my last week of my first trimester, I did started craving like more foods, like dinner food. And it was mostly like Chipotle, that I already love Chipotle. And just like Taco Bell. But it was mostly if I seen someone eat it or seen a commercial or someone talks about it, I would want it. But other than that, my first trimester, I ate pretty good. I was drinking my green veggie smoothies with ginger, because ginger really helped me with my nausea. And that's really it. Like my first trimester, I feel like the beginning weeks was probably the hardest because the nausea. I think that not being nauseous was like the worst part of it. But I also have some questions that some of you guys asked on Instagram. I asked you guys to ask me if you guys have any questions for this video. Some of you guys were being really sweet and just not asking me questions, but just being sweet. But someone asked, were you planning on having children? Someone scared me. Were you planning on having children? And Miller and I were not. Baby DC was a surprise. We actually talked about waiting a whole year. And yeah, it just didn't work that way, and we're grateful, we're thankful. We know that we plan things and sometimes God just has other plans. But yeah. What are you most nervous about? Someone asked. And I think the two things that I'm most nervous about, one is the epidural, because I'm afraid of needles, and not so much of needles, but I'm just afraid like if I move, I could become paralyzed. So that was always like the moment that I learned about epidurals and everything, like when I got married, I was like, heck no. So I think I'm more afraid of that than labor pain. So it depends how you look at it. Also, I think I'm nervous about like bringing the baby home. Like it's gonna be so different. Like I tell Miller when we go on the walks with the dogs, I tell him like, babe, you know, like it's just us right now, and it's not gonna be like that. Like we're gonna be walking the dogs with the stroller. Like there's gonna be a stroller with us when we're in the car going to Chick-fil-A. I look in the backseat to grab my purse or whatever, and then I just imagine a car seat back there. So it's just so crazy because, you know, whenever the baby comes, um, it's just gonna be so different. And I know people don't sleep with a newborn, so it's gonna be interesting, but I'm super excited. I'm really excited to see Miller become a father, and I think that's like the most thing I'm really looking forward to, seeing him with a baby. Um, Someone asked, did you get any stretch marks? I haven't got one yet. I'm expecting them. I'm won't be mad, but I do have stretch marks pre-pregnancy. I have them in my love handles and in the booty area. But yeah, I don't have any stretch marks yet. I'm expecting them. Stretch marks aren't bad, so I'm using all the oils and stuff, but we'll see. I read it could be genetic sometimes, but I won't be mad. Someone asked, how were you able to wait so long to tell Miller? And the reason why I think I waited so long was, one, I was in shock and I had time to process everything. And also, come here, Penny, come here. And also, I was planning on throwing him a big 30th birthday. COVID happened, so I figured, okay, if I wait, I'll make his birthday even more special. So I just told myself just to wait. It was really hard, but it was so worth it. So I'm glad I did. And last question, are you going to find out the gender? And Miller and I have decided not to find out the gender of the baby. And this is something I've always wanted to do, but I always knew that I wanted to wait and just be surprised, but my parents and Miller like had a hard time like accepting it. And so Miller came around, and so he's super excited just to wait, like, and I don't know, it's just, I don't have a preference. I was going back and forth, girl and boy, but at this point, like, I want both of them, so it really doesn't matter. I think Miller's leaning towards a girl, and I think it'll be really sweet to see him with the girl. But honestly, we're gonna be happy, obviously, no matter what. But we're super excited, and as far as like not knowing the gender, like, it's not hard with the nursery, and just, I'm very plain Jane anyway, so I like natural colors. So yeah, I think the only hard part is just like when you see a cute outfit, you want to buy it, and I have, if it's like on clearance or anything, but yeah, so that's like the only hard part, like really difficult part. But yeah, so this is like my first trimester update. I know it took a while because I'm 22 weeks pregnant now. I'm gonna do a little baby bump. So this is my belly now. I am 22 weeks. So yeah, it's like, oh, it's harder. And I have like the little black line. But yeah, I can't wait to update you guys on my second trimester, because that's like when we felt the baby kick and all that. So it's nice to look back to, and like when my kid is older, they could look back and see how cool mom was, or like boring and embarrassing we were. Thank you guys for supporting, and for watching. If you did like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Comment if you have any questions. I like reading your questions or your comments. I think it's pretty cool, and yeah, I guess I'll see you guys next time. Bye.